My name is Sage, and welcome to Art Journeyman. I'd like to share with you today a drawing-based meditation technique that really has done wonders for me in terms of improving so many different aspects of my life, developing myself personally in many different arenas. And my goal is to share it, and hopefully, if you're interested, you can give it a shot and see if it has any positive effects for you. So you start with just a piece of paper and begin drawing a line in any direction. And as I'm breathing deeply, I'm imagining myself drawing the line in my mind's eye. And I'm going to keep my eyes open just to make sure that everything is working out on my piece of paper. So I'm just staying present with the line. I'm imagining it in my mind's eye as I am drawing it physically in real time. And what happens is when you just stay with the line like that, when you're just in the moment with the line as you're drawing it and as you're imagining it, a new direction will emerge. And the directions that we're working with here are the cardinal directions, right? Straight up, straight down, straight side to side, and then the diagonals. You can also think of it as north, east, west, south, and all the diagonals, okay? And of course, when we're drawing this, the lines won't be straight, but it's just the model that we are going to be using that will allow us to move forward with this technique. So let's start again. And again, just breathing deeply and staying with that line in the moment, not anticipating, not thinking about the next direction, but just staying with the present moment. And I guarantee that a new direction will emerge. Sometimes it takes a little time for one to kind of acclimate themselves to doing this kind of a technique, but it will get easier. And actually, when you just start, it could be very smooth and rewarding for you. So this is the technique in a nutshell. And, in the past 4 or 5 videos, I've been focusing on this technique. I'm going to move my mic because I think it's better over here. I just had it in this different position so I could actually demonstrate. It's really warm right now. I closed the window and turned off my fan to minimize the background noise for this video. So you're going to see me wiping away a little bit of sweat now and then. I wanted to connect my drawing-based meditation technique to a talk that I had with my father-in-law recently. We visited not too long ago, a couple months ago. We had a really interesting discussion about the shortness of life. He provided an analogy which has stuck with me for the past 2 months, ever since we left. And it was on my mind so much that I decided to write down some ideas and create a sort of a finalized essay or article unpacking this analogy. And you can actually find that on either or on both Medium and Substack. And so I'll provide the links below. The analogy goes like this, and many of you may have already heard this. This was the first time I heard it. Life is like a bird flying into a window, through a small bedroom, and out a second window. Again, it had this really strong impact, an emotional impact, as well as intellectual. I don't really consider myself an intellectual, although I do have a lot of, I guess, thoughts that could be considered philosophical that I enjoy sharing with you. Having said that, some of the first questions that arose include, and this is a very likely scenario, I think, in terms of, I must have heard it more than a couple times, where birds do fly into homes. And I always wonder, especially after hearing this analogy, are they curious like cats? Are they seeking shelter or maybe resources? Who knows, right? But it's a very likely scenario, right? A bird flying into a small bedroom through one window and exiting out another window, or another window in the same bedroom. What really got me thinking a little bit more was its life before and after that very short experience. Maybe if the bird is just coasting right through, not missing a beat, 2 seconds, right? Maybe 2 or 3 seconds. And then that's it. Its experience within that little bedroom is 2 or 3 seconds of its life. And my guess is that birds can live for years. That's my guess. So its existence outside of that very small, short experience is a lot bigger and, I guess, longer, broader, maybe you could describe it as. And not only that, being outside in the open air is its natural habitat versus this small, confined, man-made space, you can argue, as being a foreign environment for the bird. And so that made me think of us living this really short existence, a physical existence, and maybe returning to, this place, whatever it might be. It might not be a place, it might be some kind of experience where kind of the origins are, well, maybe I shouldn't use that word, but it's just this place or experience that happens before we come into existence, the moment that we are conceived, and after we transition, after our body dies. Maybe like the bird then, this more natural habitat or this more natural experience for us human beings is a place or is something where we can thrive and we can live kind of this bigger, broader life. Again, whatever that might be. And maybe we can't even call it a life. Maybe it's just some kind of an experience, right? I thought of 3 scenarios where the bird is flying through the room, or 3 different versions. The first one being the bird enters and doesn't even flap its wings. It just enters and glides right through, not missing a beat, maybe adjusting its trajectory. It's really sharp. Its instincts are very sharp at this moment, and it can just go right through the room. Not flapping, gliding. The second scenario is maybe coming in and being momentarily disoriented and needing to flap, putting on the brakes a little bit, and then finding the way out, and then moving toward that direction and exiting successfully. So a little bit more, a little bit longer, and a little bit not rougher, but I know that there's a better word. It's there's a little bit more of a struggle, maybe you can say. The third is where the bird flies in and is completely disoriented and starts flying in circles, kicking up dust, losing feathers, flapping vigorously and getting exhausted, right? Confused, fearful, and then just ending up perching somewhere, like on the bed or on a dresser or something like that, just perched, trying to regain its senses and its instincts. To then see both windows rather, and either flying through the second one or going back out the first window it came in, right? So three different scenarios. And for me, I've definitely experienced aspects of the second and third scenario. There have been times in my life where I've just sort of, what's the right word, haphazardly and vigorously flapped my wings in circles, kind of fearful and anxious, looking for something, right? Looking for the right path, maybe. And there are times like now where I feel like more like the second scenario. I feel like that bird that is able to slow things down a little bit, put on the brakes, and maybe even hover a little bit like a hummingbird to then regain my composure and move forward. Three different scenarios. And I think that first scenario may apply to some, but is rare, maybe I can say. It's kind of like more an idealized situation or description. What this taught me essentially is to be present and be in the moment. And this line drawing meditation technique that I was showing you at the beginning really helps you be truly in the moment. Through the technique and just through being in the moment, you learn to overthink less. You learn to accept things as they are, and as a result of acceptance, flow through life. By being in the present moment, you're moving forward. You're not necessarily thinking too much about what's going to happen, even though that's only natural, but by trying to really be invested in the moment and be in the moment, you naturally move forward. And so that's connected to acceptance and flow as well. Also, in terms of less overthinking, there is decisiveness, which comes into the picture, which is always a good thing, as well as confidence. So I think this analogy really kind of highlighted these aspects, the importance of being in the moment and how being in the moment can lead to all of these positive things like confidence, less overthinking, acceptance, and flow. What the line technique does is it enhances your ability. This is what I'm arguing, at least. It enhances your ability to be in the moment, as well as a handful of other things. And all of these positive things that it can bring about in your life are interrelated, and they feed into each other in a very positive way. I'm 49 years old now, and so looking at that analogy, I'm about halfway through my trip through that room. Halfway across the room. It's kind of crazy to think. I'm not necessarily looking forward to my death, but I'm certainly becoming more and more aware of the second window, my exit window, and I'm curious. There is fear as well, as combined with a lot of other emotions, right? But I think curiosity is definitely one of the main feelings that I'm having right now. at 49, halfway across the room. I am very invested and deeply connected to my present life, mainly, and I can say exclusively, because I have my wife and my son. They are my life, and I am confident that they will outlive me. That's my hope and my belief. So when it comes for my time to fly through that window, I know it's going to be very difficult. I know that I will miss them and the love that we share and shared. I'll also be very thankful and grateful and happy that they can be with me at such an important moment. So that window, it's going to be in front of me soon, remembering how the analogy just sort of amplifies that feeling of life being so short. As I'm approaching the window closer and closer with each day, I can almost imagine me as the bird looking over my shoulder briefly to see both my wife and my son behind me, trailing not far behind, again, given the analogy and how it is sort of intensified and shrunk down to this microcosm of an experience. But there they will be. And so there's some reassurance there in terms of always knowing that they will be exiting the window. And just to continue the analogy, I'm looking forward to explore what's out there, whatever that open air experience might be, while keeping in mind that my wife and my son are, hopefully I'll be able to, within that place or experience, I will be able to think of them in some way or remember them in some way. And within the story of the analogy, to return to that house and circle high above the house with my eagle eyes fixed down on that window, hoping and waiting that I can rendezvous with my wife and my son when they emerge. So this is just I guess a story and an idea that I'm really happy to be sharing with you, and how it coincides with my line drawing technique, my meditation technique. Please give the technique a try if you would like to experiment with different ways that you can hopefully improve your life. I hope you enjoyed this story and this analogy. Again, if you're interested, you can read a more detailed, more organized in terms of the thoughts, exploration of this analogy. I have the same article uploaded to 2 different sites. One is Medium and one is Substack, and I'll leave those below for your enjoyment. And if you are interested in this meditation technique, please don't hesitate to go to my website and sign your contact information, your email contact information in at the bottom of that homepage. And I'll be very happy to get back to you to discuss and go in depth a little bit more regarding this meditation technique. So I look forward to seeing your comments below and maybe talking to some of you through email. Thanks very much.